Yo, Venezuela, what up, everybody? El Conquistador back with another video, okay? Continuing on with the theme, it's June, it's Pride Month. I definitely want to do other videos I want to do because there is colorism, there's racism, there's homophobia, there's individuals, Black Americans that have been ostracized in Ocha, white Americans, white Cubans, gay Americans, and there have been people that broke the mold, broke barriers, so that now Black Americans do not get looked down on in Ocha. It still happens to this day. Gay Americans, gay Cubans, Black Americans, white Americans, Asian Americans. So I want to give examples of individuals that existed that broke barriers, okay? In this case, I want to talk about the first male Oriate in Cuba's history, named Octavio Lorenzo Sama Adeosun Agayu Obadime. The first male Oriate in Cuba's history was a gay man, okay? There's no debating that, okay? He was trained by Latois. There's two versions of a story that I've read from Ocha, who's Ibaye, Bart Stuart Myers, Oloya, or Olobatala, depending on the source. His own books say he was an Oloya, but I see other sources that say he's Obatala. I don't know. And the second source is Willie Ramos, okay? So the first version that I've read from Ocha is that Obadime, sorry, it's not the best quality one. It's those little cheap ones, you know, you get at the gas station. Smell good though. First one says that Obadime, Octavio Lorenzo Sama, came from Nigeria directly, okay? From Yorubaland, and he was training to be a Babala. And at some point, as a teenager, as a man, I don't know, around the 1860s or the 1870s, as a slave, went to Cuba, and eventually somehow got his freedom, yada, yada, yada. And later got made tuochun by Latuan. And that his ita forbade him to make ifa, because at that point, we already had ifa well established by 1830. There was already Adechina, Adebi, Olugere, Atanda. Well, he died 1876, but you get my drift. But Ochun apparently said no, or Agayu said no. Okay. People that think, well, in this case, he was Ochun Oro Agayu, meaning they put Ochun on the head and they put Agayu on the shoulder. Okay. That's one version. Oh yeah, and then continuing on, his contribution was Latuan trained him, and that he was a brilliant man, and the training that he received from Ifa in Nigeria, he brought that over and quote unquote completed the Dilogun system that we know today, using the Odu that he got from Nigeria, and then implemented it into the Dilogun, thus completing the divination system, which at that point in the 1870s, 80s, whatever, was incomplete. Okay? To what extent, I don't know. I'm just telling the story, okay? I'm just the messenger, okay? That's Ochanilele's version. Willie Ramos's version, another very well-respected anthropologist, he says that Obadime was not born in Nigeria, that he was born in Cuba, I believe Oriente or Matanza, something like that. And he was made by his aunt. His mother had died, and his mother's last dying wish was that her son was to be made and have Ocha. He gets made to Ochun. Now, as a young boy, young man, whatever, he exhibits certain mannerisms, aka everybody could tell this little boy was going to grow up to be a gay man. by mannerisms and the way, just the way he carried himself, yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? Years later down the line, he's an experienced santero of Ochun. Ochun Adeosun. There's Ocha name. He eventually moves out to Havana, and he wants to work in Havana. At this point, Efuche is dead by 1903. We can assume that Obadime was made maybe the 1880s. But Efuche and Latuan got Havana on lock. There are certain individuals, Guillermina Castel, Carmen Miró. There are certain individuals, even, Obatero, who's over there in Matanzas, she's in Oriate as well. She's doing her own thing in Matanzas by 1874. But like Juan says in a nutshell, you can't be working what you're here because I don't know if you're actually crowned. I don't know if you're lying. I don't know what you did over there in the Monte, but over here in the city of Havana, we're going to have to crown you again. If you want to work in this city, you're gonna have to get crowned our Havana style. We don't know if you got Santo Lavao. We don't know if you got Santo Parado. Or we don't know if you're just straight up lying. Okay? So he agrees. He agrees. He gets made again to Ochun. In this case, this is believed to be the first case of Ochun Oro Agayu. Okay? Why? Because his ita with Agayu, or Ochun, he already said that he had Ochun made. So then they put Agayu on his head. And then it comes out in his ita that his first Ocha, his ita gave credence to his first Ocha. So he was not lying. He actually had Ochun on his head. As for the name Obadime, we do not know. Well, according to Willie Ramos, the anthropologist who interviewed all these people, I'm freaking 30 years old. I never had the chance. I don't even speak Spanish. I don't got the chance to be going to Cuba and interviewing people that knew people from 75 years ago. So according to Willie Ramos, we do not know if Obadime was a quote-unquote pet name by Latuan herself as a slight little jab, a little jest that he's been crowned twice, king crowned twice, king made twice, Obadime. Or if that was his actual Ocha name at his second ordination. It wasn't until Dominga Alvear, who was Latuan's daughter or niece, depending the source. A lot of these things is always depending the source. Who sang the oro at his funeral. Aumba wauri, awausun, awaoma, lerioma leawo, adeosun kawe. Adeosun, that's when people found out his actual Ocha name. It was first crowning was Adeosun. So in the song that I have, hopefully I can put it out Saturday, I put Octavio Lorenzo Sama Adeosun Agayu Obadime. Some say it was actually Chango Oro Agayu. So I don't know. The dude got freaking Ochun and Chango and Agayu all on one head on one crown. I don't know. That'd be freaking Obadimeta. King crowned 3 times. I don't know. Or king crowned thrice. So those are the 2 versions of that. Admittedly, the second version does not explain his super contributions when it comes to the Dilogun. But Ochanilele says that he completed the Dilogun system. Now, he was already a knowledgeable santero. And we do know that either way, in either story, he did bring something new to the table with the knowledge that he had retained from Matanzas of Oriente, the campo, the woods, and he brought that to the table, and Latua respected what he brought, and thus continued to build on that foundation that we have today. Super respected. His particular proteges, he had 2 proteges. Very interestingly enough, I was super surprised when I learned this, that Obadime, being a gay man himself, trained and taught by a woman, did not teach any women. He had 2 proteges. Tomás Romero Obatala, Ewin something, the snail of something. I can't remember. Ewin Lade, Ewin B, something like that. Thomas Romero. Okay, I put his picture up, but I can't because I'm not doing this on the app. I'm doing this on the camera. Second individual, Nicolas Angarica Agayu Obatola. Okay. He was made 1941. Thomas Romero was made maybe like the 1910s, something like that. He died like 1956, something like that. But those are his two proteges. But the only one that Latuan taught all her secrets to was the single gay man, Obadime. Now, there were other individuals that Latuan trained indirectly, like Jose Roche, Ochunkayode, and there's other individuals. But the only one that she actually went out of her way to train was Obadime. Other people that learned from Latuan, like Jose Roche or Ochunkayode, they just attended every ceremony and they watched and they asked questions and they learned, and eventually they grew into the Oriates that they were. Still respected and very good at what they did. But it's very interesting that Latuan, one of the pillars of Ocha, along up there with the Fuche, chose to train not a woman, but a gay man to take up her mantle. And then he trained two straight men, but directly more so Thomas Romero, because Nicholas Angarica only had like 3 years with the Obadime. Okay. So yeah, so that is just one example. It's a video I've been wanting to do for this month. I've just been so damn busy working on the other video. But yeah, so that's the little fact of the day. The first male Oriate in Cuban's history, in Ocha's history, was a gay man. So this is just one more little tidbit of information to dispel homophobia. There's other individuals I want to do videos on, like Apolinar, to dispel not only homophobia, but also dispelling people that don't believe that white people should be in Ocha. I've read that. Other individuals like Barnabé Menocal, the first white Babalao. He was made in like the 1800s, maybe early 1900s, but he was a white Cuban. So I'm all about dispelling misinformation and just racism and homophobia and all the other obias that there are, the phobias, I guess that would be. Because, we've all heard it. There are Black Americans that get discriminated against, gay people that get discriminated against, white people that get discriminated against. And I always say, is Obatala the king of the world or the king of the Black world or the king of just the Yoruba world? No, he's the king of all the world. So we all got the God-given right to sit on the mat like everybody else and get solution via Ebo. Okay? So I'm going to stop rambling, and I hope everybody enjoys this video. Let me know who else you want to hear next. If you have any other examples of gay santeros who broke the mold, of white santeros who broke the mold, of Black American santeros that broke the mold, of Asian American, whoever that broke the mold for their time. And they don't need to be Ibai. They can be alive, okay? So, El Conquistador over and out. Bye-bye.